I've been guided to open the door for a broader range of messages to come through for those standing on a threshold in their life, on the edge of change or in a liminal space. This is inspired by Hecate and the void moon or the dark moon on August 12th, which coincides with the solar eclipse. So powerful energy there. Each pile will have a different theme and its own energy revealed as the cards are turned over. And we won't know where we'll end up, but we'll walk through the threshold together. For anyone new here, my readings aren't predictive or superficial. They tend to go below the surface, where the deeper inner work is done. This isn't always comfortable or easy, but can be a powerful catalyst for long-term change, which is why I love it. But it's not for everyone. And because we're going beyond the story, the messages that come through may not be immediately resonant. So take your time to consider how the messages might apply to you, and then use your discernment to decide what to take or leave. Timestamps are in the description. However, for those who would like a close-up of the Soul Path cards today, let me do that right now. For Soul Path 1, we have Trigger. For Soul Path 2, we have Chaos. And for Soul Path 3, we have Transform. When you feel called and ready, click on the timestamp for your reading, and we'll see you over there. For those who chose Trigger, welcome into your message. My sense here is that you're dealing with some triggers, or you're being triggered with where you find yourself on this threshold in this liminal space in the in-between. But also this feels like a shadow aspect that's coming through as well, where your triggers are showing you the way forward. Your triggers are showing you your fears, the things that have gone unmet up until this point. So look into that. I'm just seeing this, what looks like an arrow. So it's kind of like facing the trigger, facing the things that feel not abrasive, but it may be something that you're trying to fix or resolve. But maybe it's going deeper into that trigger, possibly with professional guidance, to be able to unpack this a little. Maybe this trigger has been around for some time. But let's see. Let's get one more card, and then we'll get into the tarot. I don't know what's going to come through, though, about this threshold of yours. I'm hearing 2 cards, so we'll get 2 cards. Harness Mystic Power and Drop Your Shields. Yeah. So there is with Intend and Create. Both of these cards are mirror images of each other. They are the Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine of the tarot, essentially, the Emperor and the Empress. So before moving forward, I feel like you have to be in this energy of receiving, being in this vulnerability, this state of softness, or I don't want to say surrender, but that's the easiest word that I can grab onto right now, because there is something about not giving up. That's not what surrender is about. Surrender is... it's about releasing your attachments to outcomes, to results, to the way you feel something should be. And there's somewhat of a higher expression that wants to come through in this space, possibly through the trigger on the other side of the trigger. But it's something you can't see yet because you haven't turned to face it. Maybe you have in certain regards, but I'm getting that there's a lot of shields that are going up. There's a lot of protectiveness. And this isn't about being completely vulnerable where you are unsafe. This is dropping your shields in the right environments with the right people to be able to feel what you need to feel and look at your triggers in a safe way, having the appropriate protections up when you need to. So let's get some more information here on what this is. But right now, it's not really about moving forward or doing something. If you're on this threshold and you want to get on the other side, make a decision, move forward, get out of this place, that could be indicative of needing to stay where you are for the moment and just be in the space, because there's something here to learn. There's something here to understand better. Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Yes. So this isn't, again, no movement forward here. What is this one? The Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Yes, inner work. But also there's a perfectionism here of needing to do something right. Maybe feeling like you have to pause and wait to make the right decision in order to move forward. It's like, it's the sense of like, I have to make the exact right decision at the exact right time. So there's a perfectionism coming through here. But also, I'm hearing that it's not about the waiting for the right time or making the absolute right decision. There's a shift in focus here. This isn't a shift on the external thing, on where you'd like to go, on making that right decision. This is about the internal work, what needs to happen within. And there's a level of vulnerability that is required with that. So we have the Seven of, I believe this is Wands. Is this Wands? This actually feels like Swords to me. Seven of Swords and the King of Swords. Interesting. I'm just going to check this because I'm not familiar. That could be Wands, actually, because swords might be actual swords in this deck. It's looking like. There's the Wands. It's so interesting that I'm seeing that very differently. Because this is almost like Little Red Riding Hood, wandering through the forest, not knowing where they're going. Yeah, to me, this is about gaining clarity as you walk the path, or as you, I was going to say, don't walk the path. It's like not waiting for the right time or the exact right clarity or the perfect anything. But learning something about your process here, about why you feel that is important. There is a fogginess with the King of Swords. It's not quite sure that it wants to make decisions, the decision here, the decision to move forward, whether it's right. Again, there's that wobbling energy. Yeah, this is Wands. Because there's the Six. So this is a quest to find some kind of meaning. Maybe about this decision, maybe about this threshold, maybe about why you've come to this threshold to begin with. So there is a reason why this is happening. Something that you've outgrown, something that you have moved beyond energetically or spiritually, and it's time to understand a new truth, to make decisions from a new place, to use this time to explore on a deeper level, to explore your processes, your habits, your behaviors, maybe what you hold in high regard in terms of your personal value, or what you believe to be important to you, especially moving forward. That may help to align with your values a little more, to understand your motivations, and to get really clear about that so that the decisions can follow. And I think that's what this might be all about. So we've got the Six of Swords at the bottom of the deck here. And it was in reverse. So there is a going back to review something here. A mental review. How does the mind affect the body? How does the body affect the mind? And what information can you glean from both to have a more rounded understanding? But also how you can apply that to your purpose in whatever comes next. How you can maybe master the mind in a new way, maybe through the body, somatics, nervous system regulation, but also to not give so much meaning to what this means about you. You might be placing a lot of judgment on yourself. So I've gotten completely distracted by the background noise and I forgot where I was. So that might be a good place to leave the reading, my dear Soul Path 1. I'd love to read how these messages resonated, so drop me a comment if you feel called to share. And if you made it this far and you want to go even deeper with me, check out the links in the description for more ways to connect. Thank you for being here and doing this work with me. I'll see you soon. For those who chose the Chaos card, welcome into your message. So this threshold might include a lot of people or have a lot of moving parts. There could be a lot of chaos. This could be a lot of scattered energy. Your energy is being pulled in multiple different directions. You could be closing multiple chapters at once and trying to open new chapters all at the same time. So it feels like a flurry of things. I'm seeing in my mind's eye when cartoons fight and they kind of get into that ball of dust, and all you can see is the dust and the occasional hand and foot and springs and whatever else comes out. That's what I'm getting from this Chaos card, is that you're wrestling with things. You're wrestling with life. Maybe even wrestling with multiple identities or directions as well. But let's see what wants to come through for Soul Path 2. Let's see what threshold messages await for Soul Path 2. What do you have for them on this threshold journey? I'm going to take this one and grab a fresh second card because I only want one more card, please, Spirit. And those cards were face down. So here we go. Yeah, interesting. Release the old and rest. Autumn. Autumn could be a time for you where things start to settle, or when you start to officially release some things. And Shapeshifter, transform and unveil your gifts. Now, you could be a multi-passionate person or have multiple things on the go when it comes to business as well. What's at the bottom of the deck? Move in a new direction. So there is a new direction here that you are considering. And you could be multi-passionate, multi-talented. Again, I'm getting that multiple identity thing, and not in like a psychological way, but in a way where you're able to adapt to different environments, and you may have multiple ways of expressing yourself in different arenas, different environments. And that's not to say that you're being inauthentic. I feel like this is completely authentically you to be multifaceted. And you do have a multitude of gifts, which may be part of this chaos where it's like, where do I begin on this new path? I actually took a course for multi-passionate creatives and entrepreneurs. You can look it up. Career Archetypes by Joel Ulli, Ulli. He has a YouTube channel. If I remember, I'll put the link for his YouTube channel in the description box, because if you're resonating with that, you're going to love his content. And his course is really great too. So there's that. But yeah, I just feel like there is some things to release and consider releasing here, because you can't do everything. Your time is finite. And your energy is finite. So it's almost as if this moment is helping you prioritize, even though it's chaotic. It's not about choosing all the things or trying to have all of the experiences. It's about choosing the ones that are most potent and important. So let's take a look at these messages for you on this threshold. This threshold. Yeah, there's definitely some things. Knight of Pentacles in reverse with the Ace of Swords in reverse. Yeah, some foggy energy, some stagnancy, not knowing which direction to go in, some scatteredness. I feel like you've been in this for a while with the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, it's like I'm feeling a bit of an irony here, and the Six of Swords. I did shuffle this before we got into this, and there's a lot of reflections of Soul Path 1 in here. Let's just say that. I mean, the message is quite different, but there are some hints of it. So you may be coming from Soul Path 1, or Soul Path 1 might be more resonant if this isn't quite landing. But the difference is that the Six of Swords there's progress here. So even if it's progress that you don't quite understand or don't quite see yet, you are moving. You are getting more clear about something, but first there's a pause, there's a redirection, there is a fog so that you can clarify something here. Now, with the Four of Pentacles in reverse, it is that releasing that we talked about with this crow here. There is going to be some things, if not multiple things, that you have to release in order to create the room that you need to move forward. So a lot of the times on the threshold and the liminal space and at the crossroads, we want to be able to make a decision. We want to be able to move forward. We want to be able to see growth. We want to start that new thing. But what needs to happen first is that we have to get really clear about what we're moving towards and what we need to release so that we don't get stuck and held back by the things that are still attached to us. This could be old businesses, old habits, behaviors, identities that no longer serve their purpose. So it's kind of like, I don't know why this is coming to mind, but I guess because I just went camping. We only have so much space in our truck bed. And when we went camping, we first piled everything in and then realized we had to take away some stuff and get really specific about what things were truly important, what things mattered, what things didn't. And so we had to edit. We had to refine so that we could create space for all of the things that we would need in order to be comfortable and safe on our camping journey. So that's kind of what I feel here, is that there's been an accumulation of skill sets, of talents, of abilities, of gifts, of identities, but there are certain things that you no longer resonate with, that you no longer align with. Those must be released officially. That might be a really scary thing, but understand that those things can no longer come with you moving forward. So once those are released, you're able to have more time, more freedom, more energy, and see more progress. But that progress, I feel, is going to start within the mind. So what are you believing about yourself when it comes to these attachments and the things that you are still hanging on to that no longer serve you? What do you fear is going to happen when you let those things go? So I feel this liminal space or this threshold message is about simplifying things in the chaos and really refining either the things that are important, refining your focus, refining your values. And that does not mean you have to pick one thing. As a graphic designer and illustrator, but also a tarot reader and a coach, I'm combining all of my skill sets to do what I do. So what are some ways that you can even amalgamate and consolidate things to make something that's truly unique here? So I'm going to leave the reading here, my dear Soul Path 2. I'd love to read how these messages resonated, so drop me a comment if you feel called to share. And if you made it this far and you want to go even deeper with me, check out the links in the description for more ways to connect. Thank you for being here and doing this work with me. I'll see you soon. For those who chose the Transform card, welcome into your message. I feel like this threshold, you may not realize it, but it will transform you significantly. A lot of the times, those in between spaces of life, the crossroads, the thresholds, whatever you want to identify them as, can feel really disorienting, and they can feel like you failed in some way because many things are collapsing. There are things that are no longer resonant. That is not a failure. That is a sign of growth. That is a sign of expansion and a sign of transformation, of evolving. So I feel like if you had any negative thoughts about where you find yourself, know that this is because you have transformed, but also this space is a potent sacred space for transformation, specifically around what you would like to step towards, whatever that may be. So let's get some messages, some threshold messages for Soul Path 3. We have 2 here, 2, yeah. So we have Lord, take charge with authority, and Broken Arrow, embrace the energy of peace. Yeah, it's kind of the feeling that I got is to make peace with the space that you're in. And you do so with taking initiative and really taking charge, feeling empowered in this space, but also caring for yourself and comforting yourself through this space. We don't have to suffer. We don't have to, make this be an awful experience. We can do both. And my candle just went out, so I'm going to reset it. Okay, I've decided not to reset it, just because it's hot, and I'm just going to leave it be. So what else can you tell us about this threshold? Any messages for Soul Path 3, please? A lot of the messages tonight are about, taking pause before taking action. So we have the Tower in a sideways position and the Knight of Wands in the sideways position. Right now I'm getting the sense that there are some things that you are trying to avoid, and that's not a negative thing at all. But having it collapse, so maybe you are trying to take charge in the space and really push through this space and create things and do things and be productive, but that may not be. It's like you can't take aim with a broken arrow. It's a feeling that I'm getting, and you can't necessarily put the arrow back together, because it's going to have a little wobble, a little crack. The air is going to get in. I don't know science if that would actually be the case. But I feel like this is a time to find a new arrow to aim for, rather than try to keep together the things that have been broken. When we think of a butterfly, we think of how it used to be a caterpillar, and then it goes into the chrysalis, and then it becomes the butterfly. And those are very different stages. And the butterfly looks very different at each and every one of those stages. So it's like you're trying to work towards keeping yourself, or keeping the situation as it was, as the caterpillar, but realizing that the chaos or the dissolution or the collapse of something here is needed in order for you to take new action. So it's about not losing that power in that process, but also not feeling like you have full control over this process either, because I feel with the Tower being here, it's not entirely within your control. Things are collapsing and releasing for good reason, and there is a pause here, not necessarily a complete pause. When a card is in the sideways position, it's not quite in its fullest expression one way or the other. So either you're holding up this Tower and, trying to avoid it, as this Knight is looking down, or the part of the advice is to let this fall and allow it to move you in a new direction, rather than dictating where it is you'd like to go with specificity. So allowing this sort of cocoon phase, or this chrysalis phase, to happen, rather than, I think you know where I'm going with that. But the Page of Cups here, there is a vulnerability here. There is some imagination and playfulness, sort of this flexibility that is required as well, this malleability, because the Tower is this fixed, rigid structure that's coming down. And water, it goes where it needs to go. It goes on the path of least resistance. But it's not about moving with it quite yet. Knight of Cups is in reverse. So it's somewhat withdrawing your energy from whatever it is you're externally trying to keep together and focusing instead on what you need in this moment, emotionally speaking, and how you can find ways to find more joy, more play, more imagination, more creativity, to really comfort possibly the inner child that is having some feelings or having some emotions around this experience. There could even be some fears here. But there could be something creative that comes of this. And I was feeling that with that transform, there's some expression that wants to be developed in this space. Because I feel you are an ambitious person. You could be a very creative person or somebody that's very spiritual. This is deepening your practice in some way, but it's not about the external thing. It's not about the business. It's not about the identity. It's something more personal that's happening here. And you may, once you let something go or allow something to not work and not have it mean something about your ability to achieve, to succeed, I feel something new and maybe even inspiring is going to float to the surface. Because, yeah, I get this feeling that this has been something that you've been trying to keep up, that you've been trying to put back together, and I don't feel it's sustainable. So it's kind of like you're half in, half out, and maybe you have an intuition about something new that you'd like to try. This is the moment where you start exploring that a little bit. And maybe not fully allowing this tower to collapse quite yet. So there's a little bit of effort that you need to make, quite possibly, to keep this going until such time that you can start to move with this new cup energy here. But I feel whatever this was that you built, that you create, that you were moving on before is on its way out. And I feel you know that. So this is about maintaining that, not necessarily trying to keep it together in 100% capacity, but doing what you can do to support yourself, doing what you can do to kind of keep it going without putting too much energy. I feel like there's a new door to put your energy towards. And this is the new arrow that you work with. So that is where I'm going to leave it, my dear soul path 3. I'd love to read how these messages resonated, so drop me a comment if you feel called to share. And if you made it this far and you want to go even deeper with me, check out the links in the description for more ways to connect. Thank you for being here and doing this work with me. I'll see you soon.